The story begins deep within a cavernous cybersecurity command center, its walls lined with glowing monitors and blinking servers humming quietly like a heartbeat. Here, a team of elite analysts, each a master of digital warfare, had been locked in a battle with an unbreakable encryption challenge for days. Lines of code scrolled endlessly across their screens, but every attempt to crack the system was met with failure. The atmosphere was thick with tension and frustration as the clock ticked mercilessly onward. Amidst this high-stakes environment, Elena Ward sat quietly at the far end of the room, her eyes scanning the intricate web of algorithms with a sharpness that belied her unassuming demeanor. In her mid-20s, Elena was a prodigy whose talents had long been whispered about but rarely acknowledged openly. She wore a simple hoodie, fingers poised above the keyboard, ready to dive into the digital abyss. While others struggled with brute force tactics, her mind worked differently, weaving patterns, tracing faint digital fingerprints, and sensing the rhythm beneath the code's chaos. A sudden murmur rippled through the room as the lead analyst gestured toward Elena. "She's the only one who's shown anything close to a breakthrough," he admitted, though his voice carried a hint of disbelief. Elena's reputation in the underground hacking community was growing, but here, within the walls of this elite command center, she was still seen as an outsider, the quiet hacker who preferred shadows to spotlights. The narrative then shifts back several years to a small town nestled between rolling hills and forgotten highways, where a young Elena first discovered her affinity for computers. Her upbringing was quiet and isolated. She lived in a modest house cluttered with old electronics, discarded monitors, and tangled wires, remnants of a world she was determined to understand and master. Without formal training or mentors, she taught herself coding by tinkering with second-hand machines and scouring obscure online forums filled with cryptic posts and coded messages. Her room was a sanctuary, illuminated by the soft glow of a cracked laptop screen, where she would lose herself for hours, unraveling puzzles that most adults wouldn't dare touch. Elena's parents, hardworking but unversed in technology, supported her curiosity as best they could, though they never quite grasped the depth of her passion. School was a challenge, not because of lack of intelligence, but because her talents made her restless and disconnected in a system that valued conformity over creativity. One evening, while Elena sat hunched over a flickering screen, she stumbled upon a hint of something extraordinary, a hidden cipher within a seemingly innocuous piece of software. It was a puzzle wrapped inside another puzzle, a labyrinth of logic that called to her like a riddle from a secret society. This discovery ignited a fire inside her, propelling her deeper into the world of hacking and encryption, where every solved challenge was a victory against the unknown. Back in the present, the tension escalates when a shadowy figure known only as Cipher steps into the digital spotlight. Cipher is an elite hacker whose identity remains a mystery, a ghost in the system whose reputation for impossible feats precedes them. Through a cryptic broadcast on an underground network, Cipher publicly dares Elena to crack a security system so complex that even the most advanced agencies had failed. The challenge was set to unfold during a live cyber showdown broadcast to a global audience, raising the stakes from a private struggle to a high-profile contest. The room where Elena sits falls silent as the message plays. A taunt wrapped in code, a digital gauntlet thrown down. The cybersecurity team exchanges uneasy glances. Some shake their heads in skepticism, others lean forward with cautious intrigue. For Elena, this was more than a test of skill. It was a chance to prove her worth to the world that had so far ignored her talents, to break free from the shadows and show that her unconventional methods could triumph where others had failed. As the announcement ends, Elena's fingers curl into fists, eyes burning with determination. She knows this challenge is not just about cracking a code. It's about breaking down barriers, redefining what it means to be a cybersecurity expert, and staking her claim in a field that prizes tradition over innovation. The story pauses here, on the cusp of a battle that will push Elena beyond the limits of her experience, into a realm where intuition and creativity must outmatch raw computational power. In the silence that follows, Elena's mind races through the possibilities, analyzing patterns, predicting Cipher's moves, and preparing to engage with a system designed to be unbreakable. The command center, once filled with doubt, now watches her with a mixture of hope and disbelief. The game is set, the players in position, and the first move belongs to Elena Ward, the hacker who refuses to be unseen. The moment the challenge was announced, Elena plunged into the labyrinth of encryption with a fierce determination. The command center buzzed with anticipation. Analysts clustered around their terminals, eyes flicking between lines of code and Elena's rapidly updating screen. The clock was unforgiving, each second slipping away as she dissected the complex layers of Cipher's digital fortress. Elena's approach was anything but conventional. While others had thrown every available algorithm at the encryption, brute force attacks, dictionary assaults, and heuristic scans, she relied on intuition born from years of solitary exploration. Her fingers danced over the keyboard, weaving through the code like a musician tracing a melody, seeking patterns hidden beneath the noise. She noticed subtle irregularities, a recurring sequence here, a faint echo of an outdated protocol there. Each clue was a thread, and she pulled them carefully, unraveling the fabric of the cipher one knot at a time. Despite her progress, the pressure mounted relentlessly. The cybersecurity team around her was split between skepticism and hope. Some whispered doubts about her methods, viewing them as unorthodox, even reckless. Others, who had followed her underground exploits, watched with a quiet pride. The tension was palpable. A single misstep could mean failure, but Elena's calm focus steadied the room. Behind the scenes, Elena battled more than just code. Doubts crept in, the fear of falling short, of confirming the world's doubts about her. She wrestled with the isolation that had always accompanied her talents, the nagging question of whether this victory would be enough to redefine her place. In moments of vulnerability, she recalled the nights spent alone in her small town, fingers stained with grease from fixing old hardware, eyes heavy from exhaustion but burning with curiosity. A phone buzzed softly at her side. It was a message from Marcus, a seasoned cybersecurity mentor who had once been a pioneer in the field, but had grown disillusioned with its rigid structures. Marcus had recognized Elena's potential early on and reached out, offering guidance from the sidelines. His words were a lifeline now. Remember, systems are made by humans. They have flaws. Look for the human in the machine. Elena paused, letting the phrase settle. The encryption was not just a tangle of numbers and algorithms. It was a digital construct shaped by human hands, with all their imperfections. She shifted her focus, searching for anomalies that didn't fit the logical architecture. Hours blurred as she pieced together fragments of code, each discovery a small victory fueling her resolve. As dawn approached, a breakthrough emerged. Elena identified a subtle flaw, a minute inconsistency in the encryption's key exchange protocol that had eluded the experts. It was a vulnerability hidden beneath layers of obfuscation, a whisper of imperfection in an otherwise impenetrable fortress. With a steady hand, she crafted a sequence of commands designed to exploit this weakness, carefully avoiding detection by the system's defensive algorithms. The command center held its breath as Elena executed her code. The monitors flickered, lines of encrypted data unraveling before their eyes. Seconds stretched into an eternity until, finally, the encryption shattered like glass, revealing the protected information beneath. A stunned silence filled the room, followed by a ripple of disbelief and awe. Elena leaned back, exhaustion and exhilaration washing over her. She had done what no one else could. Cracked Cipher's unbreakable code using a blend of intuition, pattern recognition, and an understanding that transcended mere technical skill. The victory was not just hers. It was a challenge to a field that had long dismissed creativity in favor of rigid protocols. Her teammates approached cautiously, some offering tentative congratulations, others nodding with newfound respect. The skeptics were silenced, if only temporarily, by the undeniable proof of her brilliance. Elena's victory was a statement. The future of cybersecurity belonged not only to those who mastered machines but to those who understood the human elements woven into every line of code. Yet, beneath the triumph, Elena knew the journey was far from over. The challenge had exposed vulnerabilities, but it had also revealed the limitations of the current system. She thought of Marcus's words and resolved to push further, to advocate for an industry that valued creativity and adaptability alongside technical expertise. As the command center buzzed with renewed energy, Elena's mind raced ahead to the implications of her success. She envisioned a future where the cybersecurity community embraced diverse perspectives, where innovation thrived on the edges of convention. The code she had cracked was more than a puzzle. It was a gateway to transformation. In the quiet moments after the storm, Elena allowed herself a brief smile. The battle was won, but the war for recognition, for change, had only just begun. She was ready to face the challenges ahead, armed with the knowledge that sometimes the key to breaking the unbreakable lay not in force, but in seeing what others overlooked. In the immediate aftermath of her stunning success, the atmosphere in the Cybersecurity Command Center shifted dramatically. Where skepticism had once lingered, respect and admiration now took root. Elena Ward, the quiet prodigy who had spent years operating in the shadows, was suddenly thrust into the spotlight. Invitations poured in, requests from top tech firms to lead critical security projects, offers to speak at global conferences, and opportunities to collaborate on cutting-edge research. Her victory against Cipher was more than a personal triumph. It was a turning point that challenged long-standing perceptions within the cybersecurity elite. The narrative follows Elena as she navigates this new world, a place where recognition is both exhilarating and daunting. She stands at the podium of an international cybersecurity summit, a sea of faces turned toward her, eager to hear from the woman who cracked the unbreakable code. Her voice, steady and clear, carries a message that transcends the technical details of her achievement. Security isn't just about firewalls and encryption, Elena explains. It's about understanding people, their motivations, their mistakes, and the unpredictable ways they interact with technology. Creativity and intuition are as vital as algorithms and protocols. We must embrace diverse thinking if we want to stay ahead of emerging threats. Her words resonate deeply within the community. Elena's approach, once dismissed as unconventional, begins to inspire a cultural shift. Tech companies start to value curiosity and adaptability alongside technical expertise. Training programs evolve to nurture creative problem-solving, and a new generation of cybersecurity professionals emerges, one that blends analytical rigor with imaginative insight. Behind this transformation is Elena's growing influence. She becomes a mentor and advocate, encouraging others who feel marginalized by the rigid norms of the industry. Her story is shared widely, a beacon for those who dare to think differently. Conferences feature panels on the human element in security, research initiatives explore the psychology of hackers, and collaborations form across disciplines, bridging gaps between technologists, sociologists, and behavioral scientists. Elena's own work expands beyond cracking codes. She leads projects that design adaptive security systems, ones that learn and evolve by anticipating human behavior rather than merely reacting to it. Her innovations reshape how organizations protect their data and infrastructure, making systems more resilient and responsive. Amid the whirlwind of success, Elena remains grounded. She reflects on the journey from a solitary hacker in a small town to a recognized leader in a global field. The challenges she faced, self-doubt, isolation, and the industry's skepticism, have become the crucible in which her resolve was forged. She understands that her role is not just to break codes but to break barriers. The story culminates in a keynote address at a prestigious tech summit, where Elena advocates for a future shaped by curiosity, collaboration, and openness to new ideas. She envisions a cybersecurity landscape where human creativity and technological innovation are inseparable, driving progress and safeguarding the digital world. As we advance, she tells the audience, let us remember that behind every line of code is a person. Our greatest strength lies in embracing the unpredictable, the creative spark that machines cannot replicate. Together, we can build a safer, smarter future. The applause is thunderous, not merely for a technical feat but for a vision that redefines the very essence of cybersecurity. Elena Ward, once an overlooked talent, has become a transformative figure, one whose story inspires a generation to look beyond convention and imagine what's possible when intelligence is measured not just by skill, but by curiosity and courage.